So today we're talking about degrees and radians. Remember, a circle has 360 degrees. And, oh, that should have been through the center. Anyways, it goes, the starting point is 0. And if I make a complete circle, it's going to be 360 degrees. Much better. Then I go counterclockwise, so this top point right here is going to be 90 degrees. Straight across is 180. And then down below right here is 270. And that one is degrees. Then I also have radians, which are just another way of measuring. Again, it starts at 0. A complete circle is 2 pi radians. So then up here to the top is going to be pi halves. Straight across is pi. And down below is 3 pi halves. So if I notice halfway across both circles, the degree is 180 and the radian is pi. Actually, let me label these degrees and radians. So I can use this to change between the two. If I know I'm starting off in 280 degrees, I want to multiply it by pi over 180. So I'm going to take 280 times pi over 180. It's helpful if you have a calculator today. So I recommend going and grabbing one. I can rewrite this as 280 over 180, and then the pi off to the side. This will be helpful, because when I go to type this in the calculator, I can just type in the number without the pi. So what I want to do is I want to do 280 divided by 180, and it gives me a decimal. I want to remember to go to math, and then fraction, enter, and it gives me 14 over 9. So my final answer here is 14 over 9, and then I put back the pi. I don't want to type it into the calculator, because the calculator won't give me the fraction if the pi is there. So same thing for converting 300 degrees. I'm going to take 300 times pi over 180. So I can rewrite this as 300 over 180 pi. So I want to do 300 divided by 180 on my calculator. And I go math, fraction, enter, which gives me 5/3. So I have 5/3 pi for my final answer. Okay, the other way is if I start off with my radians, I can tell I have radians because I have a pi. So that means I want the pi on the bottom when I multiply. So I'm going to multiply this by 180 over pi. And when I go to multiply across, because I have a pi on the top and a pi on the bottom, those pi's cancel out. So really, I'm just doing, I'll rewrite this. I'm doing 3/5 times 180. So when I go to type this in my calculator, I can do 3 divided by 5 times 180, which gives me 108. And then because my final answer is in degrees, I want to make sure I have my degree symbol. So same idea for number 4. We'll multiply by 180 over pi. And here my pi's cancel out again. So I have 16 over 7 times 180. Which gives me 411.42857. I'm going to round to 2 decimal places because that's what we've been doing. So I have 411.43. Okay, so down below I just have more of the same. I just have to decide if I want the 180 or the pi on top. Because I have degrees, that means I want to start off with the pi on top. I want the opposite one on top. So I'm going to rewrite this as 250 over 180. And then I have the pi off to the side. Turn it back into a fraction. And I have 25 over 18. So when I'm turning my answer into radians, I should always have pi in my answer. Okay, same thing for number 2. So I'm going to multiply it by pi over 180. So I can rewrite this as negative 360 over 180 times pi. Which just gives me negative 2. So my answer here is negative 2 pi. Same thing for number 3. So I rewrite it as 64 over 180 times pi. And then I simplify on my calculator. Which turns into 16 over 45. And then 128 is going to get multiplied by pi over 180. So I rewrite it as 128 over 180 pi. 180 times pi. Which gets us 32 over 45 pi. Okay, the other ones, I'm converting into degrees, and I have pi's on top. So I want to multiply by 180 over pi, because I want to cancel out my pi. So really here, I'm doing 11 over 6 times 180. Which gives gives me 330. Okay, same idea for number 6. I want to multiply by 180 over pi. My pi's cancel out, so I'm really doing 180 divided by 2, which is just 90. Same thing for number 7. I multiply by 180 over pi. My pi's will cancel out. So I'm going to take negative 31 over 18 times 180. Gives me negative 310. And then my last one, I multiply by 180 over pi again. Pi's will cancel out. So I have 4/9 times 180. Which just gives me 80.